Hello, my name is Sheetal, and some people call me Sheetal. And this is my very first video on this channel. This channel is really just meant for me to express my creative hobbies, and so it will feature some arts and crafts and some, painting kind of videos, just me experimenting with crafts and really just any creative hobbies, um, and book reviews. I've recently got back into books and I am loving it. It may also feature some content from travel adventures, if I'm comfortable vlogging in public, so we'll see. And yeah, we'll just see where this channel takes me. I typically watch mostly self-development content on YouTube, so it might also feature some deep contents of my brain and psychology and just other things self-help related if I need to ramble. So yeah, welcome to my channel. And to kick things off, I thought we would start with a book that I just finished reading. This is called The Lost Ticket by Freya Sampson. And picking this up off the library shelf, wow, like this definitely, I needed to pick it up because it's pink and I love pink, and The Lost Ticket is just such a cute name for a novel. This book is a contemporary fiction novel. There's some romance in there. I would say it really centers around top themes and topics of growing older, getting older, community, friendship. There's some romance in there, and thinking if there's any other themes. I would say that's kind of the big chunk of this book, and it essentially features a character. It follows a character named Frank. He is an elderly man, and he, back in I think the 1970s, he took a bus ride where he met a young lady. I think he was around 18 at the time, and they had like an amazing connection. And I believe she wrote her number on a piece of paper, and he lost it. Something happened, and they just lost contact. And so what happens after that is Frank goes on to, like, he still goes out and he lives a very fulfilling life, has a fulfilling career. And it was this lady who really inspired him to go out and pursue the career that he wanted, to become an actor. As he gets older, though, he starts spending his time on the bus trying to find this lady. He is just very hopeful that one day he'll find this lady. And then there's the character of Libby, who is going through a lot of turmoil. She has just gone through a breakup, and the first thing she decides to do is something a little bit more spontaneous and hop on the bus and just, I believe she just wants to get out and explore for the day. And she ends up meeting Frank on the bus. And they meet, and Frank shares his story of how he's trying to find his long lost love. And like from his perspective. And Libby is so inspired by his story that she decides to pursue her time, to spend her time helping Frank to find this woman. And then we meet the character of Dylan, who is Frank's carer. He looks after Frank. And Dylan's a little like rough around the edges. When we first get introduced to him, he kind of comes across as just like a punk, and Dylan really is the one that, like, you know, he ends up supporting both Libby and Frank, and I won't spoil too much of it, but Dylan really is, as we get to know Dylan's character, yeah, he really adds something interesting to the story and becomes like very supportive of the two, and he gets thrown into this adventure too of trying to find Frank's long lost love. And yeah, so my favorite parts of this book were really like this underlying theme of hope and patience. I think it really teaches you, like, it reminds you that sometimes the best things that come up in life are when we're being patient, and when, what's that saying? Like, love is patient, love is kind. I think this book is a good representation of that story, and sometimes just like being spontaneous can put you in the hands of great people. You can meet great people, and just a reminder to, you know, stay connected with your community. So I like that part. I really like that kind of underlying sentiment of the story. And also, I think another underlying theme that I think we can all somewhat relate to is this feeling of really wanting to pursue something that we're passionate about, but receiving that feedback that from people around us that it might not work out, that, you know, you should have a plan B, that even though people around us might not support our dreams, our passions, those passions are well worth pursuing. And that is definitely something that we are, that is known to us throughout, that Frank, well, it's kind of a ripple effect that it's brought up in this story, where the young lady that Frank met when he was 18, she she was an aspiring artist, and Frank was so inspired by her passion to pursue art that it ultimately had an effect on him to go against his parents' beliefs and to pursue his dream, which was acting. And when Frank met Libby, he almost kind of pushed this. Um, he was definitely very encouraging of Libby to pursue her dreams and not really care so much about what other people think. And I feel like Dylan was also kind of the same way. So that was definitely a very clear theme throughout this book that I really enjoyed. And I think we can all relate to that to some extent, because many of us go off to pursue the safer path. And you know, in the back of our mind, sometimes we think, but what would life be like if we went and pursued this passion full time? So yeah, it was a really great sentiment. The thing that I would have, I guess the part of this book that I would kind of that I wanted to see more of was this book is told in narration, mostly from Libby's perspective. Yeah, mostly from Libby's perspective, and then there is another character that gets thrown in, and we get to know her narration as well. But it's a little bit confusing when her name's Peggy. When her narration comes in, we don't quite know the role that she has in this book until much later on. So, but she isn't one of the main characters, so it kind of feels a little bit confusing until she comes into the story. So that was just part of the story for me that was a little bit distracting and hard to understand. I would have liked to hear to see narration of the chapters by different characters like Dylan, Frank, yeah, I would say just other characters, so that we can really get into their feelings, their motivations, their emotions a little bit more. But other than that, I really enjoyed this book and would probably rate it like 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was very uplifting, such a wholesome, good read. Like, it's just it makes you feel really good. And yeah, I could almost picture, like, I really thought the conversational style between the characters, it actually felt like real conversations, and it was easy to read. I know sometimes conversations can feel a little bit like draining. Like, sometimes conversations aren't the easiest to read and follow because they might not feel as realistic, but the conversational style in this book was it felt really natural and easy, and and a good portion of this book is conversations, so that definitely made it a page turner for me. So yeah, that was my first book review, and let me know if you've read this book and what your thoughts were. What did you enjoy about the book? Did you have similar thoughts? Did you have different thoughts? I would love to hear your opinions about this one. And stay tuned for other videos on this channel. There will likely be some arts and crafts, some more book reviews. I'm trying to read like one book a month-ish. I'm not usually like a big reader, but I'm trying to set a goal for myself to read one book a month. And so I'm currently reading, the one I'm reading right now is Sisters of the War by Rania Abu Zeid. I'm not that far in, but this is the book that I'm reading this month. So if you're currently reading this book or have read it, yeah, let's reconvene for our next kind of book review in a little bit. I'm really excited about this one, and if you have any book recommendations for me, you can leave them in the comments too. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So until the next video, thank you for joining, and have a good rest of your week.